Do you ever get excited for a new Nintendo Direct and then it's just like, oh my god, this is Fire Emblem. Oh my, wait, no, this is Three Houses. These are the Three Houses models. What is going on? A sequel? Is this more content? No. Why? I think it's pretty obvious that I was disappointed at this announcement. As someone who's been following the franchise for pretty much 10 years now, this is not what I wanted. The last game flopped. Warriors, I mean, obviously not Fire Emblem. I love Three Houses. It's one of my favorite games ever. So you might be surprised that I am not looking forward to more content around this game, but I think Warriors as a franchise doesn't suit the Fire Emblem formula very well. I just don't think there's much that they can do with it. And I don't know, I did not love Fire Emblem Warriors. So I think this game is going to flop for similar reasons, but I did want to talk about it on here today. I'm mostly going to be going over my wants for this game and what I hope happens with it. My 3 hopes, if you will. In terms of the story and the gameplay, I don't think the story is going to be very good. I don't know, something about the AU nonsense. I don't think we're going to get anything interesting. I don't think we're going to get anything compelling. If anything, I think we're honestly going to get a pretty similar rehash to what we got in Three Houses, especially since it seems that there's like a Those Who Slither in the Dark adjacent faction that we'll be fighting against. I think we're going to be walking common ground and seeing a lot of things that we've seen before. Just it's a Dynasty Warrior style game and less strategic. Based on the trailer, it's a little bit difficult to tell if the storyline branches at all. And by that I mean it's hard to tell if you are choosing a house at the beginning, because there are some moments where there's cooperation and then there are some moments where the characters are infighting. Like we see a clash between Dimitri and Claude, and then another clash between Dimitri and Edelgard. But then later it's like we see them back to back sort of fighting off the same horde of enemies. And then like we also see Edelgard fighting Judith, who may or may not be playable. We see Dimitri fighting Randolph, who may or may not be playable. So there's infighting between the nations. Okay, in this game, I'm calling it right now, but I think the time skip is going to happen very early, as opposed to in Three Houses, where it literally happens in the midpoint of the game. There's just not a lot of use for them to spend a lot of time in the school setting at the academy with the pre-time skip designs. Part of why that was effective in Three Houses was because we didn't know there was going to be a time skip, so we didn't know that there was going to be that huge chunk where all these characters develop in different directions. And then instead of cooperating, they start to actually fight against each other in war for real as adults. You lose that theme with this. So there's no point in keeping it, especially because it was a surprise in Three Houses that there was a time skip at all. Whereas for this game, they're telling us right now that there's a time skip, and I think they specifically showed it to show that this game is like quote unquote not canon because it takes place in an alternate timeline. So I think we'll spend like maybe 1 or 2 chapters at the academy. It honestly might just be the prologue and that's it. But I think the time at the academy will be used to set up the game's major overarching conflict. Also because they did vague redesigns of the characters, and by that I mean this alternate timeline design concept that they're going for draws really heavily from the post-time skip look of Three Houses. I think they would want us to spend more time with these alternate designs so that we remember this game specifically, and that it doesn't sort of blend together with Three Houses. On class progression, I'm guessing that class progression is going to be locked the same way it was in the previous Warriors game. So we are foregoing the studying system. We will not be tutoring the students as Byleth. I think it'll use like the resource-based mechanics that Warriors is generally known for, where, you know, you spend whatever resource and then your combo gets longer, or you get a new finisher, or you get like a new special gauge, stuff like that. So I don't think the tutoring will necessarily be a part of it, because I think everyone is going to be locked into their class progressions, especially because we see the classes in cutscenes. Claude is locked to being a wyvern-based character because he's seen in the cutscenes riding on his wyvern. So I don't think we're going to have the option to make Claude like a swordmaster if we were feeling frisky and wanted to. There is a possibility that they could blend the two, or tutoring will do something a little bit different in this game as opposed to building up skill points in specific attributes, but I think they're going to forego it completely. Last thing, this is pretty minor, but I do think this game will have leveling and supports, since they had that in the previous Warriors game as well. More specifically to do with the characters, I honestly don't know how many characters are going to be in this game. If they do split paths, it's easier for them to include everyone, obviously, because you have more time with each set of characters. If they don't do split paths in this game, that obviously becomes a lot more difficult, because you're balancing 24 characters who are just students, plus everyone who has to do with the academy, plus this set of characters and that set of characters. Like, there'd be like 40 characters, which I would love, but I don't think they're going to do that. I think if they do split paths as well, duplicate move sets between characters will also be a little bit more acceptable, because you won't notice it as much. Because if you're playing with the Golden Deers, there's only one archer character, so you're not going to notice that the Black Eagle's archer character has the same move set. It'll be like kind of hidden, but then also you will have a similar playstyle regardless of which route you pick, if route picking is an option. Again, I don't know if it will be. If they choose to do just like a singular story, I'm assuming they'll do it Cindered Shadows style, where you just have an assortment of characters. They each fulfill a specific role. Like, you have one magic person, you have your lords, you have an archer, you have a physical attacker. Like, that's it. It's pretty much confirmed that, like, for sure playable characters are going to be your lords and probably their retainers. But after that, who makes an appearance in this game, it's kind of tricky to tell. I'm not sure who they're going to let stay in. I just mentioned this a second ago, but I do think that there's an extremely likely chance that a lot of the characters will have duplicate move sets, just because that's what they did in the previous Warriors game. For example, there were 4 archer characters in the last game, and they all had the same move set. Every magic user, for the most part, had the same move set or similar. Not everyone got particularly unique treatment, whereas if you look at another Warriors game, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, those movesets, they aren't even remotely close to one another. Everyone got something pretty unique. But I don't think they'll do that for this game, especially if they didn't do it for the previous Warriors game. Like, I think all of our Paladin-locked characters are going to function the same. All of our Sniper-locked characters are going to function the same. But I guess if they do a singular story with a limited cast, which I think there's a chance that they could do, it's not really going to matter if there are duplicate movesets, because the other characters who they would share a moveset with just aren't going to be in the game. If they do end up having everyone present, I do hope that the characters at least have unique combo finishers so that they stand out more, and that there's different benefits to playing as those characters, similar to how Marth and Celica were in the first Warriors game, because Celica's magic was at least integrated into her combos. And I think this could be an interesting way to make characters stand out from one another. For example, like, the easiest thing to think of is the Paladin characters, because there's 4 of them. But Ferdinand and Leonie don't really have a magical affinity, whereas Sylvain and Lorenz are both strong in magic. So they could have different combo finishers themselves. Granted, if they do choose to do this, Leonie and Ferdinand would still have the same moveset, and Sylvain and Lorenz would still have the same moveset. So I'm not offering a flawless system for them to use. But who cares? We are going to be disappointed by this game, no matter what. How will they integrate magic into this game is an excellent question, and I really do not know the answer. In the last Warriors game, they really skirted around magic, and every magic unit basically had generic magical powers that weren't tied to like specific elements that they use. Like Robin and Tharia had the same move set. Tharia didn't even really use dark magic. Elise and Leo also had the exact same moves. In this game, will white magic matter? Will healing magic matter? Will healers be playable? I don't know. Will Lysithea and Hubert continue to be dark mages, or will they also be relegated to having a generic moveset? There's 7 magic characters in this game, just the students. There's more if you include the staff. I just don't know how they're going to integrate this. One cool thing, if they do choose to do duplicate movesets, is that they have the opportunity to integrate some non-playable characters from Three Houses as playable characters in this one. I think there's a high chance that Geralt will be playable. I think it would be really cool if Rhea was playable. Sothis might be, but I'm not 100% sure. I feel like they try to lean away from using her. Side characters like Judith, Nazaire, Randolph, maybe even Rodrigue could all be playable in this game as well, because their movesets aren't going to matter. It's just a skin, basically, for the same executables. Along with the characters that they are including, I do feel like the Ashen Wolves will not be present in this release. I'm not even sure if they'll be included in DLC, TBH. I think this game will have an expensive DLC rollout. I think it's going to be like within the range of like $30 to $40. I also have just a gut feeling that random characters from the houses are just not going to be in this game. Maybe it's so that people will buy DLC to get them, or it could be possible that they integrate DLC as like alternate classes. I think Flayn will be a DLC character, and then we could have different DLC like classes, like maybe Dancer Dorothea will be separate, or that'll just be her base moveset and they won't make her as much of a magic character. I really don't know. I think there's also a pretty strong chance that NPC characters won't be playable at launch, and then they will be integrated as DLC later, again, to give you some incentive to spend a little bit more of your dollar. Sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot about money. Usually that's not something I care about when it comes to games, but this product is quite expensive for the experience that you're likely not going to enjoy. The woman was too stunned to speak. I am just so shocked that they opted to make another Warriors game. The last game didn't do well, and it wasn't that great. I'm so angry. What is Intelligent Systems working on, and why is it taking so long? Show me the genealogy of the Holy War remake. Lastly, I made a bingo sheet for what I think is going to happen in this game, just to make this video a little bit more spicy. Let's go through all of the tiles. Number 1, the main villain, and then that other side character. By these two characters, I mean the white-haired one who's on the box art, and then the purple-haired person that we see in the trailer. I feel like neither of these characters are going to be playable. Just have a sneaking suspicion. Next square, Geralt still dies. Fire Emblem loves to kill the father. They love to do that, and I wouldn't be shocked if it happens to Geralt again. Next square, who even is Monica? Some people think Monica is in the trailer as that red-haired girl, but the design is a little off, which, who knows, that could be deliberate, but I'm not sure Monica is going to be in this game. It's those who slither in the dark, but barely different. I basically mentioned this earlier, but I think the conflict is going to be more or less exactly the same as what we got in Three Houses. It's going to be like an age-old war that has to do with ancestors that unfortunately our characters are dealing with now. Flayn and Ashen Wolves are DLC, not much to be said there. Petra, Ash, and Ignatz are randomly missing. Again, I have a sneaking suspicion that they're just not going to include unpopular characters. I don't know why, but I think these characters are not going to be in this game. I have a sneaking suspicion. I could very well be wrong. Rhea and Sothis are playable. I would love it if they did that. But I feel like the Fire Emblem people are notorious for not giving us things that are good but are obvious opportunities, so I really don't know. There is a love triangle. This isn't founded on anything. I have nothing to support this. I just think it could be fun. Choice won't matter even if it's available. I stand by this. I don't even think we'll be getting like kind of different stories, kind of different experiences if there is a class/house choice. I just don't think it'll matter. There will be less than 15 unique movesets. The previous Warriors game had 19 unique movesets, including DLC. A lot of those unique movesets came with the DLC. But yeah, I just don't think. I cannot see this game functioning if they don't repeat movesets between characters, because I don't think they'll give a lot of love and attention into making each character special. The DLC will be expensive. I'm guessing it'll cost $32. Gay characters will be less gay. Annette and Mercedes will actually just be friends. Caspar and Linhardt will actually just be friends. Yuri, if Yuri is present, he's going to get the Fire Emblem Heroes treatment, and they're for some reason really going to tone down his makeup. The free space is this game will be a critical failure. Playable Gatekeeper, I think that would be fun. I think it would be a nice nod to how popular he is as a character. I think he'd have a great like joke moveset. As soon as this game drops in June, there's going to be a new Fire Emblem Heroes banner with the new character designs. I think that's just pretty obvious. Cross-marketing, even if they don't get your dollar with this game, they'll get it in Fire Emblem Heroes, you know? Only the Lord and retainers will have lines out of the student characters. I think they're going to be the only ones who talk. I don't think anyone else will have scripted dialogue, maybe supports if they're lucky. Seteth and Claude will be the only two characters who ride on wyverns, because no one else is going to have the option. Mages will all have the same moveset, and healers are NPC. We already talked about this. Huge frame rate drops. I just don't see this game functioning very well. Ingrid will be the only character who can ride on a Pegasus, and that'll be her only pull into wanting to play her. I'm sure her moveset's probably going to be the same as the 3 Pegasus Knight characters in the last Warriors game, because why would they switch it up? Catherine will be playable, but not Shamir. Why? I don't know. I just think it's something stupid that they would do. Unseen family members will get character designs. I think this would be really fun, especially if Holst was in the game. You know, he's one of the only off-screen characters that we talk about so often, especially if you're playing as the Golden Deer. But there are so many family members that we just don't see, especially parents and siblings. I think it would be great if some of these characters got official depictions, even if they're not playable, who cares? Be nice to see it. I think that was a missed opportunity of Three Houses. Talus and Solon will be in this game, just maybe as different characters. This square seems unclear. Let me explain. I don't think these two characters specifically will be in this game, but I feel like the bad guy will have like an ugly, gross, old nerd type, and then the hot daddy main villain type. And then my last prediction is that there's just going to be a random cameo. From here, I have it written as it's from Genealogy of the Holy War. It could be from any game in the franchise, but I think it could be cool. Maybe if they did sort of like a Priam kind of reference, where Priam is a descendant of Ike, but he's just like randomly in Awakening. I think this game is going to flop, but they could at least give us some hope. 3 hopes even, that the new Fire Emblem Echoes is going to come out sometime soon. I just want it so bad. I'm so angry that they announced something so stupid. Anywho, that is my bingo card. We will revisit this in June when the game drops. I will be making content about it. Okay, that's all I had to say about this game. I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you made it this far. What do you think is going to happen in 3 Hopes? Do you think it's going to be good? Are you holding out faith? What are your theories? Do you agree with me? Do you think healers are going to be in this game? Do you think magic is going to be literal garbage? I would like to know. I would like to hear it. Also, who in Fire Emblem do you think is gay? Not necessarily in pertinence to this video. Just wondering. Okay, bye-bye.